Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the C Morning Show. It's almost time for our first discussion of the morning, and this one is a little bit scary for us parents. We're going to talk about sugar intake for our children, because nowadays we can encounter a lot of sugar in various foods that our children regularly consume, and it may also trigger a number of health problems, one of them being diabetes.
Can you believe that, right? Now, according to the Indonesian Paediatrician Association, over 1,600 children suffered from diabetes just last year. Although the majority are just cases of the type of 1 diabetes, it is still common for children to suffer from type 2 diabetes, mainly due to increasingly unhealthy lifestyle.
That's right, and to find out more about the ideal sugar intake for children, we're going to be joining and talking with clinical nutritional specialist Dr. Putri Sakti, who is joining us here in the studio this morning. But before we begin our talk show, we're going to take a quick look at the following video. Let's check this one out.
Halo ibu-ibu, kita siapin sarapan dan bekal untuk anakku yang cantik. Mantulitan ibu, di double. Main nasi juga, biar kenyang. Nah, ini buat sarapan nih. Walaupun udah bawa bekal. Nah, udah kenyang nak. Ayo, kita waktunya berangkat.
Aku mau berangkat dulu ya,
Ya.
Okay, so take another moment to welcome Dr. Putri Sakti. Doc, thank you for
Good
being
morning.
here. Welcome
Good
back to our
morning.
program.
Thank you.
So we started off with that video because we wanted to give you an example. I'm sure this is just one of many examples of what it's like for some parents to provide lunches for their children and
Yes.
breakfast. And what we saw there, when we mentioned sugar, we're thinking
Yes.
about processed sugar,
Right.
sweets. But that is like double carbs. It's like instant
Exactly.
noodles, rice on
rice.
top. And white rice does have a lot of sugar. It's high on
And
the
it seems
GCI.
for lunch and also for breakfast
Yeah,
at
the
the
same thing.
time.
So, Doc, we'll start off by, what's your take on that video that you saw there earlier?
Yeah, as we know that nowadays that lots of children getting diabetes.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the breakfast that they consume has lots of carbohydrates. So of course it has lots of impact of them. Like diabetes, obesity,
Yeah.
or maybe suppress the immune system.
So a lot of people
Yes.
don't correlate like the carbohydrates turning into sugar.
Into sugar.
And then they have sugar
Right.
on top of that with drinks.
Yeah, and nowadays people, not nowadays, but Indonesian usually likely to have, wanted their children to be more filling, like they want their children to be more,
That's like
you know,
an
like
old- yeah,
they
it's
would say suckle, like,
Yeah.
there's the meaty, right?
If they're a little bit skinny, they're like, oh no, you're not eating enough. You need to eat more. Yeah,
like you need to eat like a lot of rice, like a lot of carbs and
Yes.
whatnot. I think this is such a good idea also by our new president-elect, who made the program of free good meal for
Right.
students,
Free milk.
and then, for them to be provided at school, because
True.
they can have it during the lunchtime
Yes.
and everything is going to be good for them, especially good for their system. Now, but back again to this, the sugar intake for children, what's the parameter? What's actually needed or could be have by our children if they want to take some sugar for them?
Okay, for sugar, actually, they just can consume like 25 grams a day.
Can you give an example?
exactly.
Yeah, what would that
It's
cover?
like 1.5 spoon.
One and a
Oh,
half spoons of like
Yeah,
just
for
regular.
a day.
for a day. So lollipop,
day.
that's for like a week. It's like one lollipop for a week.
Really? Okay. That would be normal intake. Does that depend on age and how much activities they're getting, or can you have?
Yeah, based on the recommendation from the age 2 until 18 years,
Really?
yes, it just can consume like 25 grams a day.
Okay.
But if we talk about the composition of carbohydrate, it depends of the gender, age, on the activity.
Okay,
Right.
because if they're more active, they're likely to burn off carbohydrates as energy
Yeah.
as well.
Yes, correct.
But like sweets is also, I mean, sugar, it's also in the form of milk. You know, sometimes, and you know, even the
Yes,
parents are
correct.
cooking, they use salt and also some sugar, you know,
Correct.
to spice up of the food. So I mean, that could really take a lot, you know, for a
It
child.
definitely, you have to count everything. That's
Yes.
the whole problem as well. So what happens when a child has too much sugar, and how much time does it take to develop? I mean, we know that diabetes can develop over time. What time frame are we looking at here? Are we talking years? What is it usually like for children?
Yeah, actually, when someone consume like high simplex carbohydrates like sugar more than 3 months, it can develop higher risk for diabetes.
Months. We're talking
3
months.
months, yes.
Wow. Okay, that's a very short period of time. So how do we quote unquote count? Because not everybody's good at macro counting,
Yes.
calories.
I couldn't.
How do we keep track as parents of how much sugar that our kids are taking in throughout the day?
Yeah, sugar is different with carbohydrate.
Okay.
So if we talk about the carbohydrate, we can fulfill like the 1/3 a plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one third of your plate being carbohydrates. Okay.
In each single meal.
Okay.
And then for sugar, of course, we need to limit in 25 grams a day, or maybe can less from it.
Okay, but does that count also on natural sweets, like fruits, for example, or even vegetables? Because they do have natural sweets in that.
Yeah.
No, sugar is comes from their beverage, maybe
Okay.
from milks.
Yes.
So we're
Sweet
talking more
milk.
processed sugar,
Yeah.
right?
Yes, processed sugar.
Okay.
Correct.
I think that, especially with the younger kids, fruits are a great alternative.
Right.
Because all they want is
Yeah.
something sweet. Just keep
Especially
feeding
when they
them.
already start doing like solid food and whatnot,
Yes.
and they're gonna try to eat it by themselves. They're usually parents. I mean, for myself, I mean, for
Yeah.
us to have 3 children,
Yeah.
I mean, vegetables and also fruits is likely to be, you know, the choice that we would make because they would like that, you know, sweet taste on their, you know, on their palates. But then again,
Do you have any tricks that you use for your kids in order to limit their sugar intake?
well, we only give sweets and snacks, especially on weekends.
Oh, okay.
Yes, like,
Wow.
so it goes on Friday after school until Sunday, but that doesn't mean like when I'm at home, like they have their snack box and whatnot. Usually they would come around, and especially when we have like an 8-year-old and a 10-year-old, they usually can already found, you know, those sweets and whatnot, but I can always
And we
sense-
don't know what they're doing at school. Back then,
Exactly.
right?
And they, you know, sometimes they would buy things.
They
You know,
share
after
with
going to
their
school, there's
friends.
some like, you know, snacks outlets and
Canteen.
whatnot. Yes. But when we know, when they can't be controlled and what we call a sugar rush, then we knew that you're taking overly, you know, too many sugars. Now let's talk about that though, Dr. Puthi. What is a sugar rush? You know, for some, you know, parents thinking when, you know, my kids are just roaming around, they're just too hyper, that's when you get a sugar rush. What are the symptoms of a kid having, or a child having a sugar rush?
Yeah, sugar rush, it means that they have a spike, glucose spike, after they consume like simplex carbohydrate like condensed milk, sugar, or sweet beverage, and it can make they have a suppressed immunity, and then
Immune system. Wow.
yes, and it can make their cognitive decrease.
Really?
Yes, because sugar or sugar rush can induce inflammation too
Okay.
in their bodies.
Wow. I also heard that it can affect their mood, especially
Yes.
when they, you know, have a sugar crash. Like after there's that spike, usually they
Yes.
have a crash. Can it affect the child's mood as well?
Yes, of course, because when we have a high sugar spike, and then they can decline too fast, it
Yes.
can make their hypoglycemia.
Oh,
So
that's
it
right.
will increase their swing mood
Mood swings.
risk. Yes.
Correct. Okay, so I've also have some friends that their parents have, their children have special needs, and they have specific diets that
Yes.
force them to avoid, especially processed sugar. They have sugar alternatives as well. We use stevia with our kids sometimes as well as natural sweeteners. But what is the correlation between children with special needs and sugar, and why is it so much more important for them to avoid sugar?
Yeah, special kids, they have like some lack immunity, and they cannot control their emotion.
Okay.
Right.
Like normal.
For example,
kids.
a child with ADHD or autism.
Yeah, they are
sometimes it's
very hyperactive. So if we suggest or we offering them with simple carbohydrate, it will
Yeah.
make the condition getting worse.
right.
Yeah.
See, like it's like a sugar
Very
rush
active.
times
Yeah.
1,000.
Yeah.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
It's going to be very handful, especially for the parents and also for the children itself.
Yeah, yeah.
Other than diabetes, if you're taking or the children taking a lot of sugar or sugar intake, what would be the implication other than for health and also for the development, doctor?
Yeah, as we know that it can increase the risk of obesity too,
Okay,
and
yes.
then cardiovascular, or maybe they risk for infection. Yeah.
Is that what we're seeing right now? I mean, the trend, especially I think after COVID or during COVID, I think parents would like for the kids to just be
Just to
happy.
be happy, yeah.
And then they would just give them any kind of like sweets, and
Yeah.
whether natural or processed one, for them to be happy.
Yeah, but we need to remember that this fluctuative glucose in their body or sugar rush can induce the mental health too.
Okay.
As we know nowadays, it's
right.
getting increased for the numbers, so we need to limit their consumption because it will, I think it will inhibit or maybe suppress their balance
Yeah.
mental health.
Okay.
I mean, it's easier for us parents to limit it, but for them, there's just so many choices, especially processed sweets.
And they don't understand
Right
yet.
there in the
They just know
market.
what they like.
Exactly.
Okay, so we use a little rule in our house. We try to limit our kids not to have any sorts of sweets after 4 p.m.
Okay.
One of the reasons being we want them to make sure they can get a good night's rest in the evening as well. So is there any correlation with having sweets later at night, or is that a myth that if you have it later at night, they're not going to have a good of a night's sleep?
Yeah, as we know that they consume high simplex carbohydrate, it will make the sugar rush, so it will make them hyperactive at the night.
That's
Yeah.
right. So it's harder to get a good night's rest. Now, let's address, I want to address one elephant in the room. A lot of times, a lot of people, like we'll look at that example right there. One of the reasons is she wanted her child to be full.
Yes.
But another reason is also money. I mean, let's just face it. It's sometimes to give your kid all fruits and vegetables every day can be a little costly. It's a little bit more cost efficient to give white rice with instant noodles. What are some good alternatives for our kids to still be able to get healthy sugar intake and perhaps even some sweets, but also like a good alternative so they're not given the cheap alternatives that actually exceed their sugar intake?
Okay, I think we need to try make them like bananas,
Okay.
or maybe dates or honey
Okay.
for sweet.
Oh, honey is
habit.
good too. I've totally,
Yes.
yeah. That's great sugar
Yeah.
alternative.
Yeah, I think it can help them, or maybe if they can prepare it like what can I say, yogurt with the chop of the cheaper fruits.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah, it will.
It's like dragon fruit. I mean, it's not.
dragon fruit is
And
very
then
good.
there's a
Yeah.
lot. I mean, maybe that's homegrown as a lot here in Indonesia. I mean, we're living in a tropical island where
Yeah,
everything
fruit's not a
like
problem.
fruits is really delicious here. Mangoes, dragon fruit, whatnot. You
Yeah,
can get
and
a
be
lot.
creative. Like if
Yeah.
your kid likes ice cream, let's say, make them a fruit smoothie.
Yes.
Or stick
Or a
them in those
popsicle.
popsicles, and
That's
they won't know the
right.
difference at all. You're just having fruit.
But how is it for us parents? Do you have any recommendation how we can, or any tips for our parents also to kind of change their mindset? Okay, nowadays, maybe we already have children that's used to it, but we want to change their diet. What would be the tips for the parents?
Okay, as we know that we are as a parent is a first role model for them, so we need to give them lots of example, like at home,
Yeah.
we less consume.
Oh, for ourselves.
Yes,
That's
for
a good
ourselves,
point.
because
Very good point.
children is like a sponge.
Yeah.
So they imitate everything
That's
what
right.
we do in front of them.
That's right.
So the first tips is we need to be a best parent
Yeah.
with a best healthy diet or healthy habit for them,
Yes.
and
Very
then
good
they will see and they will do it
Follow
at
through.
home. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, definitely if you serve yourself a good platter of salad at home, they definitely would get used to it. I mean, that's the household of Paul Palale and Chichi
hope
Palale
so.
and Chichi Riana right there.
One can only
They're a very healthy family, by the way, Doctor. We even reflect to them, you know?
Yeah.
But again, you were so right, Dr. Peter.
Yeah.
If you like to drink soda, you know, and then having a chill time at home and drinking soda in front of your children, then you don't be worried when they're also drinking the soda right in front of you.
Correct. And also, there's lots of alternatives, by the way. I recently got a soda machine for myself. So when they
A
want
soda machine?
yeah, so I actually make soda water, and then you can add fruit to it,
There you
infuse
go.
it, and put a little natural sweetener. They don't know the difference at all.
Good
Hope
investment.
they're not watching, by the way. Now they know,
Good
they know
investment.
my secrets. Anyway, Doc, thank you so much for coming on here.
Thank you, Dr.
We know that
Pleasure.
diabetes is increasingly becoming a problem for
Yes.
our nation, and we hope that more people are aware, especially us parents, to keep our children's sugar intake under control.
That's right, Paul. Thank you very much once again, Doctor. All right, so
Pleasure.
folks, we are set ready for a commercial break right now, but when we return, we'll bring you more of the world headlines. Stay tuned.